Okay, so I'm doing a demonstration on making a grayscale, a 10-step grayscale using drawing pencils. I've already created a video talking in general about drawing pencils, and if you're doing this for my class, this video is not a replacement for reading through the instructions. It's an enhancement to that. So first of all, you'll notice that I've drawn this in advance, and I used an HB pencil to draw in the scale, okay? Because I don't want the HB, I don't want these lines to be too dark. If they get too dark when you're creating a grayscale, I feel that they distract from getting the consistency of value shifts. So I would say draw that in with an HB. I'm actually, for this demonstration, I'm using a 4B pencil, and I've gone ahead and sharpened that in advance. And a reminder, in my 10-step scale, black is 10 and white is 1, and that's the paper. So what I'm going to recommend is starting with 10. We're not going to go, I don't suggest, and again, you do this however best works for you, but I suggest doing 10, doing 5, and then doing the ones in between that, and then working your way out. So I'm going to show you in that manner. And you'll notice that I have notes down here saying that 10 through 7, I actually use 2 layers for that. So first I'm going to start by going one direction. And you can see I'm fairly pressing down with the pencil. I'm getting to the edge. I'm not completely getting down to the edge. I will do that in a moment. Because if you don't get that clean edge, it looks very raggedy. Okay, and I don't want that. And you eventually, when you're doing this scale, you want to completely fill each tile with the value that you're currently drawing. Now, as I'm getting to the edge, I'm going to flip this around, and I'm going to get that straight edge, straight line in here. Get that line straightened out. Okay, so that's one layer. Well, now I'm going to do another one in that, and I'm going to do it the opposite direction of the first one. And again, I'm really pressing down hard on this, okay? You may end up having to do a third one on that. It just depends on your hand and how hard you press. Okay, there we go. Make sure it's nice and solid looking. Okay, so there's 10. That's black. Now the next one I would do is 5, and that would be one layer, okay? And I'm not going to press down as hard, and you'll notice that I'm using more of the side of the pencil than the direct point. So I'm going to go ahead and start gently and trying to shoot for consistently, put value in there. And again, just like in the last one, I'm not going to get completely to the edge. It will look a little raggedy until I turn it on the side and then get that in. Okay, let me get that on the side. Now, if yours just looks really inconsistent, you can slightly go back. You can't tell, you're just gonna have to take my word. I am not pressing very hard right now. You shouldn't have to do that, but I felt that looking at this up close, I felt it needed a little more consistency in it. So there's that. So now, here's what I know. This is white, this is 50%. So the next one that I would do is 3. And we know that this has got to be lighter than that, and darker than this. Not so light that I don't have a 2, but I'm really not pressing hard on this one now, okay? I'm not pressing hard at all. Now, some people will be tempted to smudge their gray. And I'm going to say, unless you have a lot of experience with that, using a smudging tool, I would recommend against it. I would practice with it before saying that's what you want, because you will tend to find that things will get a bit darker when you do that. You really don't want to use your finger because you're getting oil into the paper and you're getting the lead into your skin, so you don't want that either. So now the next move, I'm actually going to go over here next, but you can see that there's an easy way for you to tell the difference between this and this value, and what this value and this value, okay? So this is why I suggest jumping around. Now the next one I'm going to do is 8, and this is, again, I'm pressing a little bit harder. You have to be careful to try to not put your hand on top of the scale that you've already drawn on, because sometimes what that will do is it will rub especially with a black pencil, it will rub the value around. So what you can do is you can put a piece of paper, like junk paper, in between your hand and where you're drawing. That's one way to do that. Now this side is definitely going to, this number 8 needs to be layered. Right now it looks very similar to that. We don't want that. We've got actually 2 steps in between there, so okay. Quite liking how that looks in certain spots. I'm not pressing down super hard. But you can see the difference between this and this. I might actually get this a little bit darker. What I would do, and I'm not going to at this point, is next I would do number 9, okay, to get this and then go onward. So that's how I would approach this. There is one other thing I want to say, and this will work for some of you. Sometimes to get this kind of smooth look, you definitely want to go with the shape of the form, and that's going to be true in drawing, period. But there also are cases where you want something to look smooth and you're not doing this up and down type of line, in which case you can draw little tiny circles that overlap one another. And I realize that in video that's going to be very hard to see, but you can see that I'm kind of working my way out. Okay, so that's another approach to that.